Keanu Reeves wasn't just exhausted when he stopped his motorcycle. That little, stubborn dog, it was hiding something. The note on its collar turned his world upside down. My sibling is sick. No water, no food. Now he had a choice to make. Would he continue on his path or step into the unknown and change his life forever? This isn't just a rescue story. It's an irrevocable journey. Hey, haven't subscribed yet? This is just the beginning. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and be a part of Keanu Reeves' epic tale. Keanu Reeves pulled his motorcycle to the side of a dusty road. As the sun set on the horizon, it painted the sky in hues of orange and purple. A gentle breeze stirred, scattering dry leaves around. After a long, tiring day, he had stopped to catch his breath. But just as he was about to dismount, he heard a soft growl. When he turned around, he saw a small, dirty dog trembling by the roadside. Its brown fur was coated in dust, and its ribs were clearly visible. Yet what caught his attention most was the look of despair in its eyes. "Where did you come from, buddy?" Keanu murmured as he leaned down and extended his hand. The dog flinched for a moment, but didn't run away. That's when Keanu noticed an old, worn-out collar around its neck, with a crumpled piece of paper tucked inside. He carefully removed and unfolded the paper. "Help, my sibling is sick. No water, no food. 3B. Keanu gripped the paper tightly, then looked back at the dog. His heart began to race. This wasn't just a stray, it was carrying a message. Suddenly, the dog turned and bolted. Without a second thought, Keanu chased after it. About 10 minutes later, they arrived at a dilapidated old apartment building. The peeling walls, rusty metal doors, and broken windows all spoke of neglect, and even the silence of the place was unsettling. The dog slipped inside without hesitation. Keanu took a deep breath and pushed the door open. It creaked as it swung. Inside, a sharp, stale odor filled the air. He followed the dog's fading silhouette among the shadows. This night was about to be anything but ordinary. The corridor was dimly lit as Keanu followed the dog and stopped in front of the door marked 3B. Behind it, a deep silence reigned. The dog whimpered anxiously, scratching at the threshold with its paws. Keanu knocked on the door. "I'm here to help," he said, his voice soft yet determined. No response came. A sense of unease washed over him. He stepped back and then delivered a firm kick to the door, which burst open with a loud crash. Inside, a heavy odor filled the space, a mix of dampness, hunger, and despair. As his eyes adjusted to the low light, he spotted two small figures at the base of the wall. A child was clinging tightly to a baby in his arms. The child's dirt-smudged face, with cheeks etched by hunger and wide, frightened eyes, stared at Keanu in fear. Keanu slowly crouched down. "Hello," he said in a gentle tone. The child pulled the baby closer, remaining silent. The dog moved over and sat next to the child, resting its paw lightly on his leg. When the child felt the warmth of the dog's touch, he relaxed just a little. "What's your name?" Keanu asked. The child hesitated before answering. "Noah." Keanu nodded. "And the baby?" "Lucas." When he looked at the baby's pale face, he realized how critically dehydrated the little one was. Keanu removed his jacket and draped it over the child's shoulders. "All right, Noah, we're leaving this place," he said. The child hesitated. Could he trust Keanu? Did he think Keanu was just another person who would leave him behind? Then the dog rested its head on his leg, and the child's small fingers unconsciously intertwined with the animal's fur. At that moment, Noah gave a slight nod. Keanu carefully scooped up the child and baby. He wasn't going to let them stay here any longer. The emergency room's white lights shone down on Keanu's weary face. Noah clutched Lucas tightly in his arms, as if letting go would only make everything worse. Keanu watched every move the doctors made. As Lucas was placed on a stretcher, a nurse quickly started an IV. Severe dehydration and malnutrition, the doctor murmured. Noah's breathing quickened, and his eyes locked anxiously on the edge of the stretcher. "Don't let them take him," he whispered. Keanu placed a reassuring hand on the child's shoulder. "I'm here, okay." At that moment, a social worker approached. "Mr. Reeves, we need to arrange temporary accommodation for the kids. Noah and his sibling will be placed in a foster home." Keanu fell silent for a moment. A foster home? His eyes shifted to Noah. The child's face instantly paled. He'd seen it before, perhaps too many times. He was going to be abandoned again. No. Keanu looked deeply into the child's eyes, then fixed his gaze on the social worker. "These kids are not going anywhere." The worker blinked in surprise. "But Mr. Reeves, according to procedure, prepare the necessary paperwork," Keanu said, his voice as hard as stone. "I'm taking these children." The worker tried to protest, but Keanu's unwavering stare silenced him. For the first time, Noah looked up. There was a new light in his eyes. Perhaps, for the first time, someone was really going to stay. When Keanu pulled the car up in front of his house, a profound silence greeted him inside. Noah clutched Lucas tightly, while Hero, Keanu's faithful companion, stood at his feet. It was clear that the children weren't used to entering a new home. The uncertainty of what awaited them inside weighed on their small shoulders like an invisible burden. "Come on," Keanu said as he opened the door. "This is your home now." As Noah stepped inside, his eyes carefully scanned every corner of the room. Everything was in order. The kitchen smelled of fresh food, and the living room exuded warmth. Hero immediately curled up by the couch. Keanu then led Noah to a small room. "This is your room," he said in a gentle voice. Inside were two beds, one prepared for Lucas, the other for Noah. On the shelves were a few children's books, and a small nightlight sat by the window. Noah lingered at the doorway, hesitating whether to enter. Sensing his uncertainty, Keanu reassured him softly. "You're safe here." Noah eventually sat on the edge of the bed, clinging to the pillow, while Hero rubbed affectionately against his legs. A quiet moment passed before a small whisper broke the silence. "Thank you." Keanu turned to look at Noah. For the first time, the child had let his guard down just a little. Keanu offered a gentle smile, and, before dimming the lamp, said simply, "Whenever you want to talk, it's okay." Noah didn't reply, but his eyes met Keanu's for a brief moment, a look that spoke volumes. It was midnight. Keanu woke up to a soft rustling. At first, everything in the house seemed normal, but then there was a sound, a quiet sob echoing through the depths of the rooms. Slowly, he got up and went into the hallway. The light was off, but Noah's bedroom door was ajar. Peering inside, he saw that Noah wasn't in his bed. The little boy was curled up on the floor next to Lucas's crib, wrapped in his blanket. Hero was lying at his bedside. Keanu stepped into the room, but Noah didn't notice him. The child was withdrawn, his eyes staring into the distance. Clutching Lucas's tiny hand tightly, Noah remained silent. "Noah," Keanu whispered. Startled, Noah jumped and then lowered his head. "I'm sorry," he murmured, barely audible. "I feel safer here." Keanu slowly crouched down to meet his eye level. "Do you want to talk about it?" he asked, not pushing too hard. Noah thought for a few seconds before nodding slightly. "My mom used to promise she'd always come back," he said, blinking as if weighing each word. "But she kept leaving." Keanu felt a quiet anger well up inside him at the thought of such a heavy burden on someone so young. "I know," he said softly, "but you're here now, and you're not alone anymore." For a moment, Noah's eyes locked with Keanu's. Then, taking a deep breath, he nodded ever so slightly. "Okay," he said in a low voice. Keanu picked up the blanket and draped it over Noah's shoulders. "You can go back to bed if you want," he offered. But Noah shook his head. "I'll stay here," he replied. Keanu nodded, and, as he left the room, glanced back one last time. Noah was still holding Lucas's hand. This time, though, his eyes were slowly closing. Gradually, he drifted into a peaceful sleep. The heavy wooden doors of the courtroom creaked open as Keanu took a deep breath and stepped inside. Beside him was Noah, the little boy clenching his tiny fists tightly while he cradled Lucas in his arms. Hero quietly stood at their feet. Keanu could feel the tension radiating from the child. All eyes in the courtroom were fixed on Noah. With a gentle yet authoritative tone, the judge spoke. "Noah, do you officially wish to be recognized as Keanu Reeves' son?" A brief silence fell over the room. Noah lifted his head, first looking at Keanu and then at Lucas. In his eyes, there wasn't uncertainty. There was resolve. "Yes," he declared in a strong voice. The judge studied the child for a moment before smiling. "Then, from now on, you are legally his son." A wave of emotions, too deep for words, surged through Keanu as he heard the judge's words. Noah gripped the chair next to him tightly, but a small smile played at the corner of his lips. As they left the courtroom, Keanu took Noah's hand. "Now, let's go home, son." The moment Noah heard those words, he felt all his fears vanish. "Yes, Dad," he replied, his voice as soft as a whisper, yet more real than anything else. And just like on that very first day, Hero stayed right by their side, never straying even for a moment. If this heroic journey has inspired you, don't forget to subscribe, turn on notifications, and share your thoughts in the comments. Stay tuned for more true stories and legendary tales, because the adventure is just beginning.